Have you ever wondered why your kid listens to their teacher at school, but then they fall apart when they get home? Or why rewards charts seem to work until they don't? Today, I am diving deep into kids' behaviour in schools, the struggles teachers face, and what's really happening when your child has a meltdown after school. Because it is not just because of bad behaviour, it is something so much deeper. And my guest today is Megg Thompson. She's a former kindergarten teacher turned neuro-affirming certified behaviour consultant and life coach. Megg has spent years helping kids, parents, and teachers understand behaviour in a way that is not just effective, but it actually makes sense. She is hilarious, she is really insightful, and she's here to challenge everything you thought you knew about getting kids to behave. And why? Well, because here's the thing. We have been taught to focus on compliance. We want kids to follow directions, to sit still, to be good. But is compliance really the goal? Or are we training kids to perform, to do what we want only because there's a reward waiting for them? Think about it. Gold stars, sticker charts, good job certificates. We dangle prizes in front of kids hoping that they'll behave. But what happens when these rewards disappear? Does the good behavior stick? Or do kids just learn to do the bare minimum to get what they want? And even worse, what about the kids who cannot meet those expectations? The kids who are neurodivergent or struggling with anxiety or dealing with learning challenges. These traditional rewards and punishment systems alienate those kids. It tells them that they are failing. It makes them feel broken. And instead of guiding them, we're pushing them further away. This conversation, quite honestly, is eye-opening, it is thought-provoking, and to be honest, it is well overdue. So if you're ready to ditch the rewards, to completely rethink behavior, and actually build real connection instead of just having control, well then stick around because you're in the right place. I'm your host, Stephanie Pinto. I'm an emotional intelligence author, speaker, coach, and consultant, and I love anything to do with emotional intelligence for parents, teachers, basically anyone who lives or works with little people. I'm not going to do a whole long intro about me. You can find that on some of the other episodes, but I want to dive in to this amazing conversation that, challenged some of the things that I thought I knew about schools and behavior and kids as well. I honestly think you are going to love it. Just before we jump in, I do want to acknowledge the Darug Nation. They are the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work, and record this podcast. I pay my respects to all First Nations people, their elders and ancestors, and I acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and I stand in solidarity towards a shared future. All right, enjoy this week's episode. Here it is. Hey Megg, how are you?
I'm so great. I'm really great.
Tell us a bit about how you got into the work that you do now, because I know you're a former kindergarten teacher.
I was a kindergarten teacher. I was a nanny. But when I was a kindergarten teacher, I graduated with a communications degree, which has nothing to do with kindergarten. And I got the job as a kindergarten teacher because I wore sparkle outfit to the interview and I gave good underdoggies. So those are the ones that you go under the swing of the kids. And I was hired because the kids thought I was fun. I had no idea what I was doing because I did not have a background in education. So as I was going through, I was using the very traditional strategies. And I always say any strategy, they're behavior games, right? Stickers, tickets, tokens, points, clips, or candy. So any sticker chart or token board or class dojo, I don't know if that's everywhere. I know it's
We
really
have
big.
we have Dojo.
Oh, you know what? And Class Dojo was made by a business executive and a video game designer.
Oh.
So there was no teacher or education consultant or psychologist or psychiatrist or school counselor and nothing. So it's basically just to make money, right?
Wow.
So I didn't know what to do and what not to do when I taught kindergarten. I just knew I was fun. And there was a little boy who came in and I think it was year two, because year two was when I was like, oh wait, this is not what we're supposed to be doing. And he was tricky. You would have said he had challenging behavior. And he I had to put him on a sticker chart every 15 minutes. First of all, I have drunk squirrels. So every 15 minutes. I couldn't remember the first time I had to do it 15 minutes. And then I had to do it another 15 minutes and another 15 minutes the whole day.
Whoa.
I did not do well. I didn't get a sticker for the 15 minutes. But as I was going, the first 5 or so, he got the sticker. The like 6th or 7th one, he didn't. And I was the one who had to tell him. And he was so mad. And this was at the beginning of the year. And I spent the rest of the year trying to pick up the pieces of the broken relationship that I caused. And I was like, and you know what he got, Stephanie, for oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. What he got for a prize, he liked motorcycles. So I thought if he got all the stickers or he met his goal, he could get, so embarrassed, a color printout laminated motorcycle. So like I found one and I put it in a Word document and I printed it out on my computer and I laminated it. And I thought that he would change his whole behavior for that stupid reward.
Oh,
It's like so embarrassing. Because and I thought, and I didn't know at the time that it was stupid, right? I was like, this is genius. And when he finally
yeah.
got all the stickers, I showed him what he got and he goes, really? My mom can make one of these. And I was like, oh, it is true. He has a computer and a printer and can laminate it to school, right? So I thought, okay, we're not doing this. I also around that same time, I also went to I don't know if anybody's read Punished by Rewards by Alfie Kohn.
Oh, yes.
He
Oh
is,
my
I
God.
want to be his best friend, but I am a drunk squirrel and he is pretty ducks in a row. So I
Yeah.
think he would find me very overwhelming. But I went to like a conference, like a the National Association of the Education of Young Children. And I went to the Massachusetts one. He lives in Massachusetts, and he was there. And I was like, oh, I didn't know, I just signed up and I went, I've been to like 5 of his. And then he started writing books, and I was like, wait a second. Oh, I get it. We're not supposed to be bribing kids. We're not supposed to be playing games. And I learned, like, wait, you only play games as an adult that you want to play, right? Like
Yeah.
if someone's like, hey, do you want to come play soccer? Nah, I'm not really good at soccer. No, thanks. Oh, you want to play tennis? Oh, yeah. I was like really good at tennis in high school, so I'll play, right? We only play games. And in the game, you know the rules, right?
Yes.
Soccer, you don't use your hands unless you're the goalie. You kick it on your feet. You know what a foul is. You know what a yellow card and a red card is. You know, right? The positions, you know who gets the score, you know all the rules. In these stickers, tickets, tokens, points, clips, or candy, you do not know the rules.
Hmm.
The kids, if you ask them, they have to be nice and good or kind or respectful or responsible. Some of these kids on these clip charts are 5. They don't know any of that. Be nice. And I say, what does nice mean? And they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Be kind. Well, kids are more kind than they're unkind. Kids are more good, I'm putting that in quotation marks, than not good. Kids are more respectful and responsible than not. But they have to go, the teachers say, but they have to go above and beyond.
Yes.
Hey, they're 6. They don't, like, they have to be extra kind. Okay, so extra kind is now a judgment call, right? So extra kind to me is different than extra kind to you, who's right. So they don't really know. And then the teacher comes in. Now the teacher comes in with uh had a rough morning and just like it's Monday and they're grumpy and I get it. It was Monday. I'm grumpy. And now they're gonna judge and give clips or tokens or whatever differently than they might if they're having a good day and they got 2 coffees and it's a 2-hour delay. So I live in New Hampshire in the USA, and we had a 2-hour delay today because it snowed. So we got to like eat pancakes and eggs, and we got to go slower. And the other school I was supposed to go to today also had a 2-hour delay, so I didn't have to go to that work. So I got to like have a slower day, and I was like, yeah. Well, if I did have to go in, I would have given stickers all over the place today. Everybody gets a sticker. It would have been Oprah. You get a sticker, and you get a sticker, and you get right. everybody would have got a sticker. But if it, right, the first day back from like Christmas break, we would have all been like, ugh, nobody gets a sticker. This is stupid. We should have just a teacher day and there shouldn't be students here. So it so these games are just unfair. And I call them fun, fast, and easy. They're trying to look at the fun, fast, and easy way. Fun meaning the sticker chart, if you like Spider-Man as Spider-Man stickers, or the clip chart is like Among Us, because that's like the cool thing, or
Yeah.
right? That's the fun. Fast, they want it to happen fast. School wants it to happen fast. They just want, usually when I get called in, because I'm the behavior girl, I have about 30 seconds to fix it.
Wow.
Right? And then the thing, right, you said that you had a lot of parents, just like my Megg Thompson behavior is the same thing, parents and educators.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a parent, you have kids who are in all these systems, getting all these whatevers, where sometimes there's assemblies. I heard one the other day that if you have enough points, you could play the dodgeball game, but you also need points to watch the dodgeball game.
Oh.
And now, what if you have kids who aren't competitive? Dodgeball's terrifying. I loved dodgeball, but I know so many kids that are like, no thanks, dodgeball, that sounds terrible. So, like, I'm not going to get a point because I don't want any points because I don't want to go to the game, nor do I don't want to watch it. I don't want to play it. But now you have kids who come home that hold it all together all day long, stuff it in, right? And it's called after school restraint collapse. They melt down. They don't tantrum, right? There's a difference between tantrum and meltdown. A tantrum is, I'm going to do this so I get something. A meltdown is, I am physically exhausted, emotionally, mentally exhausted, and I can't do it anymore. The world is hitting me so fast, so hard, and I've absorbed it all and stuffed it all down. And now I'm in my first natural environment with people who love me unconditionally. I'm going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So I bet a lot of parents are having that
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And they're finding out that it's because of things at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a caseload. I don't know, say I have a caseload of 50 people right now. Parent wise, there's at least 10 whose kids come home. Oh, I got yellow today. Except yellow is this little girl's. So yellow is one step down, then it's orange,
Okay.
then it's red.
Yep.
But yellow for her is really a green because that's her norm is what everybody else would call yellow. For her, it's normal. Right? There's a behavior excess and a behavior deficit. So I would have been in trouble for talking too much
Mm-hmm.
when I was little. But and everybody always tried to get me to be quiet. It was always on my report cards, and now I speak for a living. I'm like, haha, practiced all those years and now I'm good at it. Right? But everybody behavior excessed me when the amount I talk is a norm for me. So this poor girl keeps getting yellow, but really it's her norm. And then now she is attaching her self-worth
Yeah.
to this clip chart that is arbitrary. It's like super arbitrary. It should have a cape on. It's like terrible. So I wonder if your parents, Stephanie, are feeling this because, and then they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In that situation.
Yeah. I think a lot of kids, so at least here in Australia, we're going back to school this week. And I think this will probably be on a lot of parents' minds. And I think it'll be happening in a lot of teachers' classrooms. And so it sounds like, I just love the way you explained all of that with the stories. It sounds like the many problems with behavior charts and rewarding quote unquote good behavior or quiet kind, like the problems are that it's arbitrary because the teacher is the one who is making up like designating whether you get a sticker or a star and whether you meet my expectations today, which could be different to tomorrow because I might feel different. Also that maybe talk to us a bit more about that concept of like rewards and punishment. We're going into the Alfie Cone like zone right now. And they're two sides of the same coin. If we're rewarding kids
Same
for
thing,
behavior that we like to see, it's the same as punishing kids for behavior that we don't like to see. Can you kind of like explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of kids who, right, so a quiet classroom is celebrated. It shouldn't be because there are external thinkers, people who think things and have to say it out loud. They're best in groups because they have to talk it through. I am an external thinker. And now you're thinking about, okay, so this kid keeps getting in trouble and punished by being clipped down because they talk too much. Now you have a kid who is maybe neurodivergent. I recently worked with uh, a child and they went mute. So like, right? Ooh, okay. And I've worked with kids who are selectively mute. But in a quiet classroom, what are they getting? They're not getting punished. They're getting rewarded, right?
Mm.
So, but nobody is also being like, hey, what's going on? They used to talk and now they don't. She is right. Selectively mute a lot of times is social anxiety.
Mm.
Is anybody helping any of these two children? No, they're mad at the one who keeps talking. The one who's talking probably is mental health wise doing better than the other two. So now it's, but the one who, right, probably started doing better mental health wise, and now you're attaching your who you are and what I have to do to learn and how I have to form thoughts and ideas out loud. And now I'm getting punished for it. So then their mental health crashes too.
Yeah.
But they were getting punished. The other ones are getting rewarded. But everybody is having a hard time, right? And in Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem is the last authentic need you need to have to go into the growth, right? Into the growth and the bloom. Um, and these don't help any kids' mental health. A lot of neurodivergent kids can't figure out the game's rules, or they do figure them out, but um they're very logical. And then the game, and then today the teacher rewarded me for this, so I'm going to do that again tomorrow. And then it's missed or it's not seen or right. And I want to be hard on the systems, but easy on the people. I mean, I was a teacher for 10 years and of course we're human. We have ups and downs
Yeah.
and a lot of times, I don't know if this is true in Australia, but in America, uh, they want you to use these systems and they make you use them. They're mandatory in a lot of schools.
Yeah.
So even if you, and I don't want anybody losing their jobs, but I always told the teachers, I was like, just go in with Alfie Kohn's book.
Yeah.
And I have a whole on megthompson.com. Meg has two G's. I have a whole slew of articles you can print out that says how this stuff doesn't work. And you just go in and you're like, hey, I know you would never tell me to use any strategy that physically hurts a kid, right? But I know you would also not want me to use any strategy that emotionally hurts a kid. And these seem to, because I have all this research that shows they do. So I'm not going to do anything until we get to talk about it and you gather your research. And I don't want anybody to get fired. But I know in America, we have like 4 teachers left. So no, so
Oh my God.
nobody's getting fired. There's not teachers. If you're a 6th grade teacher and you're like, you know what? I'm going to say this and I'm going to go in. Always go with another teacher. There's another teacher that doesn't like it. Always go in and if you're a parent and you were like, no, we're not doing this anymore with my kid. So find other parents and go in together, right? It's better in a group. But not if you're a 6th grade teacher who doesn't want to do this anymore, there's not another one. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of teachers not leaving and not new ones in the wings. They
Yeah.
don't want
Same.
to. So
Mhm.
so this is the time where we get to make a stand. And as a parent, it's the time that we get to make a stand. Um, the hard thing is that it's usually parents against teachers, and I wish it was parents with teachers or teachers with parents.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time it's the parents aren't disciplining anymore, the teachers aren't teaching anymore, and while we're knocking each other down, the kids are struggling.
They're suffering.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure they are. So we have to watch out who we're rewarding and who we're punishing because um you're never going to reward and punish the same kids for the same things all the time.
Yeah.
And there's and in America anyway, there's like an assembly you can go to if you get enough points or tickets or whatever. And if you don't get those, you have to stay back and do work.
Oh,
And
wow.
so like they know you're not there. Other kids know you're not there. And I
Mm.
think it's really sad. I've heard a lot of parents recently say, when my kids come home, they want to be the teacher, right? We want to play school and they're the teacher and they always have that colored system or points or they play that at home too.
Oh,
And parents are like, I'm really concerned the way that my son or daughter talks to me during play school at home because it sounds like somebody has said that out loud in front of them and I hope that's not true,
yeah. Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in red and I'm going to call your mom, she's going to be disappointed in you. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
boy, that's sad. And right, I remember my first grade teacher said, um I'm going to call your father. And I'm thinking, oh, thank goodness, call my dad. Don't call my mom. My mom is the one that I'm going to get in trouble with. But
Oh,
they chose my dad because they thought it would, well, make me be quiet because I was talking too much. If you
yeah.
don't be quiet, I'm going to call your dad. And I was like, I'm thinking, like, what's my dad going to do? But, like, why are you bringing my dad in? Because you're trying to make me scared, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Scare into
Yeah.
compliance. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, those are all compliance-based systems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have to comply and then you get the thing. And a lot, and all of it's stupid. I always say first of all, if you search behavior management strategies on Pinterest, you're doing it wrong.
Oh,
That's not where you can go. That's not the place you go to. And um, oh, I forgot what it was. Oh, drunk squirrel. Wait, what did I say before that? Told you I have a drunk squirrel. Um,
now my
it,
brain.
I know, right?
Wait
I don't
for
know.
it. It's
Maybe
gonna
it'll come
come.
back
It's
to
gonna
me.
come. When
You know,
when
when someone
when the
listens back to this, they're going to be yelling, Mag, you said this, and we can't hear them because it hasn't happened yet. It's in the
yeah.
future.
Maybe let me throw a question at you then.
Okay.
And we'll move on. We'll move on. Okay. So
I mean,
what would it look like if we took away the dojo systems and the reward charts and the clip charts and the sticker charts and things like the question that a lot of people throw at people like us
yeah. Well,
is
then what do we do
how,
instead?
yeah, what are we going to do instead? And how are we going to get the kids
Mm.
to, I think it's do their work and behave, but the other part is be kind and respectful and have all these
Hmm.
positive human traits that really I'm like, that's how kids are
Anyway,
wired. That's how they are anyway. That's how they're wired. That's their base level. When we see the challenging behavior, that's because something's getting in the way of them being able to respond
access.
kindly
Yeah.
or do what they need to do. Anyway, so yeah, what would that
So I get the question all the time. So what do we do instead?
yeah.
And especially on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you want me to answer that in 2 sentences. You want
Yeah.
me to pack up my 13 years of behavior and the other 10 years of teaching. And I said, well, that's the wrong question. It's not, what do I do instead? It's what new information do I need so I know what to do instead?
Mm-hmm.
And that, unfortunately, is a learning process. It is reading Alfie Kohn's book, reading articles, taking classes from people like me or you, or there's not an easy way to, I don't have a 2 sentence answer
Yeah.
because
And you
my
know
trust,
what?
I didn't go to Pinterest and pick the strategy that works and then toward it and then sell it
Yeah.
to people.
And and the other thing is I think because for the majority of kids with they're still stuck in the mainstream or the modern day schooling system, which is I'm
Yeah.
just going to pull this out 30 kids in the classroom and one
Yeah.
teacher. That in itself, like that's where I think a huge problem is, because we
Oh,
have
for
so
sure.
many like you know, neurodivergent brains, but I mean that as in neurotypical, neurodivergent. We have kids with anxiety, sensory processing, autism, ADHD, dyslexia. Like we have such a variety of children and learning styles.
Hmm.
And yet we have the system where all 30 should be learning English from 9 till 9:30, and then maths from 9:30 till 10, and they have to be learning on this page of the book. Like there's
Yep.
no it's almost like we can't do it this way because we're trying to get teachers to teach like 30 different ways, or at least 10 different ways in the
Yeah.
space of like half an hour, 1 hour, or 6 hours. I'm like, the math ain't mathin'. Like that's part of the problem. So when we say no wonder they've got these like systems, because they're trying to fit all these different
Hmm.
children into one mold. And that just like that's not how the world works. It's not how any workplace works. You've got
And
flexibility.
when teachers ask me that, so what do I do instead? And then I tell them it's the wrong question. Then I give them the right question. They don't. I'll ask them, so how many kids do you have? 30. Do you have a para? Or nope, it's just me. And I said, well, I could tell you a lot of stuff. I can give you a lot of relationship building pieces and temperament stuff and first hour needs and love languages and
Yes.
all this stuff. It's still, you're still one human in charge of 30 humans.
Yeah.
And that's fine for 15 minutes while your para and your educational assistant are going to the bathroom. It is not okay all day, every day. And the thing is that the strategy is to get more help. Well, there isn't any because school's a hard place to work right now. After COVID, all the paras, I don't know where they went. They went on a cruise and they did not come back. And nobody has paras, nobody has educational assistants anymore. Um,
Really? Oh
no,
no.
they all like retired. I think they were like, you know what, we don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
They don't get the education they need to be the most successful in supporting the kids they have. Um, so they've all left. So even if schools could hire more teachers, there
Wow.
aren't any to get.
Wow.
So now I'm trying to help these teachers, but the first order of business is to get this teacher more help so they
Mm.
can use any of the strategies I'm telling them.
Yeah, yeah, because brilliant strategies, like we could put our heads together, like you know what I mean, and make this
Yeah.
great, almost like a curriculum. But without, I just it popped in my head. I haven't thought out this like analogy, but it's kind of I'm going to run with it. Kind of like saying,
Yeah.
okay, to one specialist surgeon, like a heart surgeon, okay, you need to learn how to work on feet and the stomach and the brain
Yeah.
and like you need to learn how to do all of this to this one patient, even though you've only got time, you've only got a 2-hour surgery. Like it's almost putting an impossible demands on
Mhm.
one person to have the capacity to deal with like 10 other things, when really they just we're asking the impossible is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are asking the impossible. And the hard thing is that they're told to do it by administration, right? And then administration doesn't know.
No.
They know the financial and the political piece of the school.
Mm.
They don't know what to. Do you know how many principals are like come in? So someone's having a hard time. A teacher's having a hard time with this child and they don't know what to do. So they go and ask all the people. And all the people basically say you're doing the sticker chart wrong. You're not giving it at an interval or a frequency that you need to, or you're supposed to do it like this and not like that, and it should be public or private, or like it's because the teacher's doing it wrong. And I was like,
Mm.
no, the strategy's wrong.
Yeah, zoom out, zoom out.
Nobody. So I always say, then you say, oh, you know what? I call those fear-based strategies, all the stickers, tickets, tokens, points, clips, and candy. I said, so I don't want any fear-based strategies. I don't want shame, guilt, and embarrassment on the other side of a strategy I use. So if I'm not going to use one with shame, guilt, and embarrassment, I need something love based. Tell me something I can do that will help these kids that is not in PBIS. That they don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Again, because it's It's not one or two sentences. The first place you have to do is self-reflection. Then you have to move to what are the temperaments of these kids? And I learned temperaments when I was out of teaching, and I thought, why do we not? The minute my bum hit a chair to be a teacher, I should have learned about temperaments.
Oh, can you tell
That's
us? Can you? I'm sure you can't. Like, but for people who go temperaments, what do we need to know? Like, what are you
yeah.
talking about?
So 55% of who you are is heredity and genetics. 45% is becomes your personality. So you take your temperament, becomes your personality. So there are direct dominant kids, there are imaginative and impressionable kids, there are sweet, sensitive, and self-sacrificing kids, there are critical thinkers and cognitive and correct kids, and each toolbox has strategies that if you didn't know, you're like, oh, this is that cognitive kid. Meg said to use these strategies. They're love-based. I'm going to pull them out and use them. The way to get away from, I think you said, went to a drunk squirrel. You said, how do I get away from PBIS? The first thing you have to do is, and it's really hard, is be honest about the system. Hey guys, you know what? I was thinking last night and I feel really bad about this, that I've been using this system. And I bet some of you are feeling sad, mad, angry, embarrassed about it. And I'm wondering if we should keep using it. Like our goals are to be kind and respectful and responsible, but what I was thinking last night is I bet we could do it without this system. And then you get to let the kids pick, do you want to play or not play?
Mm.
And I've done it with schools where we've done the whole thing. We've had the conversation. Some kids still want to play because they don't really trust that you're telling the truth. But about the school that there's been one school that took 2 months. It took 2 months for all the kids to say, oh yeah, you're right, I'm not playing this game. And so you're talking to the kids and be like, okay, so it's really fun when you get the prize. What happens when you don't get the prize, but you also don't get to say, I don't know how many kids I've had that get in trouble for turning around to say, stop talking, and then they get in trouble for talking. I was like, so now you're punished, but you also don't get to tell the teacher that you were telling the person behind you. So now you needed that ticket to go to the dodgeball game, and now you can't. And kids are like, you're right, I don't want to play this. And sometimes there's one kid that just like competitive and wants to show you that they can win. And then you have to like channel that to something else.
Mm.
Right? So you have to know temperaments. It's best to know temperaments to get kids out of this system, but it needs help. A teacher, it's so hard to like pull. Oh, I think this is what I was going to say before. Just take it down and just stop doing it. Like you can't go in, right? If you're a teacher and you're listening to this and you're like, you know what? I'm not doing it. So tomorrow, which is Tuesday, my time, go in and just take the whole thing down. The kids would freak out because they probably think they're in trouble. Or like, what? Well, we don't get candy. I hate when it's candy, but we don't get any prizes anymore. You know what? Find out what the prizes are they like. Oh, it is what I was going to say. Dollar store, Five Below, Oriental Trading Company. That's where all the prizes come from.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right?
My kids
So
at
don't use Pinterest. And then that's where you get the stuff like at the dollar store.
Yeah.
Just ask, I'll just get stuff. What do you guys like? What things are cool? The fidgets. We'll just get the fidgets and put them in a basket and put them on the table. I don't have to earn them.
Mm.
And then what can I count on you to do to be kind? Or you could ask kids, you could question of the day, what can I count on you to do to be kind? If this child was to drop all their pencils, what could we do? And then kids talk about it and you're like, can I count on you to do that? Sometimes I would take a piece of paper and write it down. And then when they did it, you'd be like, you know what? You did say I could count on you to do that. Wow. You did it. Well, that's what we're looking for in this classroom. That's the kind of community we want here. Everybody kind of sticks together. Everybody's more kind than they're unkind. Everybody's more responsible than they're irresponsible.
And the thing is, I think it feels naturally, you know, human nature, sorry, it feels good to be kind. We
Yeah.
don't need that transactional, like, I'm only doing this, I'm only being kind so I can get that sticker and then I
Which
can get
isn't
that
kind,
fidget, you
which
know?
is the exact opposite of what we should be teaching.
Yes, yeah. And like it makes so much sense when you think, oh, like I want to teach my kids at home and I want them to be taught at school that we are kind and we help each other if someone has lost something or they're not getting the math question. I want them to embody and like know in their bones, I do this because, like you said, we're all in this together and we help
Yeah.
out and it feels good. And if I help you, you're going to help me. Like it's this reciprocal, we're looking out for each other. Like this is what humans should be learning about, not I'm doing this so that later I can get that. And that's going to work out well for me. It's very transactional. It's very, I'm only doing this so I can get that. How is this going to benefit me, basically?
Right,
Like
right.
that's what these chart and to go back to the, because our kids have, when the younger years they had the, I think they still have them now, my kids are 7 and 10, they had the dojo chart, the dojo points on the screen. And
Yeah. Right. Publicly, so
my
everybody
son
can
even
see it.
said, he said, I that we know the kids who are at the top of the chart and they got the most points. Like they're the smarty pants kids, right?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, he also said we know the kids at the bottom, because we had a conversation about this, and he said unfortunately he said they're the naughty kids. They don't listen. They do this. They do that. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? They probably have some learning difficulties, or they probably have some sensory difficulties that are making them not be able to sit still, pay attention for half an hour at a time. Like they've got all these challenges.
Or
They
it's
bloody want them.
boring.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
right. Is the
want.
teacher like giving worksheet after worksheet after worksheet after worksheet? I've been in a classroom recently. They had 5 worksheets in a row, and I was like, oh, I would have been so sassy and fresh and intense. Like worksheet number 3.
Like
I would have been like, really again?
the thing is, the kids who are not getting the points or the stickers or the tokens or whatever, they want them. Like they want to do well. They want to be doing their work and feeling like, I get this. It makes sense. Like I don't, no one wants
Mhm.
to feel dumb or like they're stupid or they can't get it or they are at the low, because you see on the screen, everyone knows this kid, that kid, they're below 60 or whatever. You know what? They know it's like this public humiliation of like, oh, look at this, the smart good kids, and then you guys need to, you're terrible bad kids. Like that's so embarrassing.
And what could they do to get, like, if they're on red or orange, like, how are they going to get back to green? They almost could never. And even if they got back to green, everybody still has them in their head on red.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
oh,
Ah,
boo heads.
great conversation. Is this, maybe we finish up with, is this, I think, did we talk about a little bit of after school restraint collapse? This
Mm,
is a huge part of the reason why kids come home. And I mean, gosh, they might even have extracurricular activity after school. Like, I
yeah.
think would you agree? Our kids are pretty drained and
Yeah.
exhausted and just
And
running
overscheduled. Yeah. So they
overscheduled.
don't ever get a reprieve.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do we like, where's the mindset shift we have to make with school, with activities, with our own demands after, when they come home and homework? Like what, I don't even know what my question is in there because it's just so much, but
Well, so homework, I mean, there's research that proves homework doesn't work till you get to late middle school, early high school. So it's arming these parents with information, right? With Alfie Kohn has a homework book. He has a homework article. You can find me. I can tell you what,
yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I have the link to the homework article,
Mhm.
right? Reading, like Punished by Rewards. Drive by Daniel Pink is the reward system in the adult world. Like, hey, if you sell so much of this face crap, you could go to Cabo St. Lucas, right? And so it doesn't work in that aspect either. Because people will be like, well, it works for adults. It does not. So we have to arm parents with this information so they can have these conversations. Because my son goes to a private school because the district I live in use clip charts, and I was like, no, nope. Nobody wants me as a public school teacher, parent. I mean, public school parent anyway, because I'm just gonna bring in all the stuff and say, nope, that's not true. That hurts kids. My son won't be participating. Teachers get really mad when I say that. If you were a parent of a child who was having a hard time and you could see the self-worth and mental health, the self-worth being attached to that sticker and the mental health going down the tubes, you can say, my son's not going to do that or my daughter's not going to do that. And then you have to have really good conversations about how do I look at my self-worth? How do I know what it is? How do I gauge it? If it's not going to be a clip, if it's not going to be a sticker, right? So I have a lot of kids come home that they don't want to say what color they're on, except when they're on green. Mom, I got green. And the mom's like, I don't want to get excited about green because I don't get mad about red. And it's like so hard. And this mom recently said, I want to take her off of it. I want to say she can't be on it. I was like, oh my gosh, she had this poor little girl's trauma in the background. She's been adopted. She like all these things. And I was like, she does not need a clip chart. You kidding? But then what happens when everybody else is on it and gets the prizes? I don't know, what are the prizes? We could go to Five Below and get them.
Yeah.
You have to like do a lot of work in the that space and then hopefully work together with the teacher, not just be like, my kid's getting off that, say, hey, I've read stuff and I'd love to share it with you. And my kid keeps coming home and saying this. But if you approach it in the right way, in a kind way, sometimes it's that the teachers have to do it.
Yeah.
And so, like, how can then you could team up together, the teacher and the parent go to the principal, right? It's really tricky because there's no easy solution to that. And
Yeah.
every solution takes reading and understanding and talking more about it and learning more. And if you're not willing to do that, you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah.
We're going to have a whole bunch of kids. I think people forget at some point I'm going to be in a nursing home and have to probably pee in a bedpan. And I'm going to get somebody that was on a reward system. And I am not going to like that. Right? That's going to be my nurse. If you pee in the bedpan, Meg, I'll give you a sticker. And I'll be like, then I'll probably throw the F-bomb. And then, so like, we forget that that's the future generation and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they're going to take care of us. So we have to really, I see the mental health of children, especially after COVID, going down the tubes. And I'm like, oh, and I'm trying so hard to like scoop them up and hold them and save them. And it's a lot of work. And I know you are too. And it's just really tricky to do that.
Yeah, there's no
be responsible for all of that.
There is no one fast answer. And it takes conversations, like you said, it takes reading, it takes arming yourself with knowledge, it takes building a connection with the teacher so that you can then open the conversation. And then where does that go from there? It's like, it's an uphill battle. We're going to acknowledge that 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But so, every little piece helps though, move in the right direction.
Yeah, it's not we can't just say, well, you know, our school's totally invested and against it. I won't even try. Like it's, you know, every little piece. You don't know how many teachers might be like, yeah, we don't like this either, or you know, we just have to and it doesn't feel good. And yeah.
I had someone the other day say, I heard first from you about Alfie Kohn's book and I read it and then I followed you and now I don't use that in my classroom anymore because of you. And I was like, really?
Oh my God.
And then you think of how many people don't say that, right? I was like, really? Like, change the whole system for me. We don't do it anymore. I watched your reels that you send about how to get away from it. I have 10 reels about how to get away from it. I watched all that. I used your language. I did it. And now we don't have it in my class anymore. I'm the only one in the whole school.
Wow.
I was like, and right, you need to have a brave person. You have to have someone who's not scared to get fired. You need to you have to have this strong relationship with your kids.
Yep.
So she was willing to dive in and she's like, I was just honest. Like, I've been doing this and I don't think it works. And I think you guys hate it. And I think we should stop it.
Whoa. That's
right.
That's a massive.
But I did feel like I felt like flipping my hair. I felt like $1 million that day.
Yeah, I would too. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the other, we've talked a bit about Alfie Kohn's work in his book. Two things. I interviewed him on my Facebook community probably 3 years ago.
I'm petrified to do that.
No, it was amazing. He said,
He's so good.
we'll only do audio, no video. And I was like, that's fine, whatever you need. Like, I'll tick every box kind of thing. And it was amazing. And I have been meaning to reach out to him to ask permission, although I have, like, technically I have what's the rights to the recording, but I want to ask his permission to put it on the podcast and share it, because it's like a half-hour conversation. I think it would be so good for parents and teachers. So
I can't imagine he would say no.
yeah, I don't think so. He said, as long as you're not profiting from it, you're not going to like sell this and make my. I was like, no, no, no. I just want to put it out to my Facebook community. So he said yes, and I was like, oh my god, he said yes. It's like, I'm
I
nobody.
don't know what to do. I'd be like, that's so exciting. I have diarrhea now, and I'm so nervous.
Yeah, I was like spinning. And so anyway, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to try and get that done.
Oh,
And
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
the other book I want to recommend is this is specifically about it's a scathing review of the modern day mass schooling, and that's by John Taylor Gatto, and it's Dumbing Us Down.
Oh, yes. I have that. I have a
That's like,
bookshelf of shame. I buy all the books people tell me, and it's
yeah,
over there.
it's
And it's on that shelf. And I'm not a good cover to cover reader, so I read the table of contents. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting.
I
So
audio booked it. I audioed it because I
do too. Yeah.
much more speedy and efficient. But yeah, that was written, I think, 1991. It is not a new book. And
And it hasn't changed, unfortunately.
oh my God, it is so relevant. I listened to it last year, 2024. So anyway, so I'm going to put all those things in the show notes. And the description of YouTube if you're watching. Hello. And I'm going to put all of Megg's links as well. On Instagram, you're Megg Thompson Behaviour, Megg with double G. You're on YouTube as well. Are there any other, if people are now in love with you like I am, where would you want them? Where's the best place? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Is it your website?
So my website has one of those like fill out this paper. But my website has all the stuff of like, right, if you're looking for the information, if you did want to arm yourself with knowledge, I have like 40 mini courses and workshops and stuff for people to get a hold of. Instagram is where you see if you're like my one today. If you're looking for humor and learning at the same time and a little bit of side of glitter, Instagram's a good spot to go. I did today. It was like, hey, Meg, what? I don't want to use PBIS anymore. What do I tell my principal? And it's just me in Vegas in front of a craps machine, because that's hysterical. And I go, diarrhea. And someone's like, I don't want to go to a party because I don't think that I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything social. What should I tell people? And and it's me yelling diarrhea in front of the craps machine in Vegas, like 4 or 5 times in a row.
Oh my God.
And so if you're looking for information, but also not in a stiff, structured way,
yeah,
for me, it's a lot easier to learn when it's lighthearted and fun.
me too. I'm gonna direct people to your Instagram first, because I think that's the good first stepping stone, because they're short. Reels are short. They are lighthearted. They're easy to kind of, if you go on her page, you'll just be able to flick through a few and you'll get a really good sense. And then if you go, you know what? How could I wonder if, like, what would I say? And like, where's the research behind, like, then you can click through to Megg's website. So,
and everything's after my name. I wanted to be, I wanted no more sticker charts. I wanted that, or I say bad words.com, but everybody told me to just use my name. So if you went to Facebook and looked up Megg Thompson with 2 G's, if you went to Instagram, if you went to YouTube, if you went to TikTok, if you went to .com, if it just put Megg Thompson with 2 G's, and it's all the same.
Cool.
You'll find me.
All right. Would you do a virtual speaking engagement at Australian schools or somewhere else in the world?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm gonna do all of that.
Okay, we need to make that happen.
Okay, deal.
Because you can now we have Zoom and all the other things.
You could do all the things. I would like to go to Australia, but it's probably not cost effective.
Yeah, I know.
To travel 24 hours for a 2-hour workshop.
No. A couple at the end of 2023, I went to all the way to Aruba to do a speaking engagement at a conference. And that was like a day of traveling. It was worth it, but it was intense. I was like, wow.
I mean, you did end up in Aruba, so
Yeah, Aruba in the
that's pretty
Caribbean.
great.
I had to go through like, where did I go? Probably San Francisco and then down to Miami and then down to Aruba. It was like intense.
Oh, but and how long were you there? Because the jet lag must have
Yeah, so it
been
was a full day. It was a 2-day conference and I spoke on one of the days. And yeah, and then we had a bit of a mini holiday. Not really, but like we got a few days to see the Flamingo Island and go out and travel. And yeah, it was great. So
wow. But
anyway,
sometimes your jet lag is like, I'd love to go to that island. I just need to sleep or something,
yeah.
right?
Oh, okay. Meg, it's been an absolute pleasure. My cheeks are hurting because I've been smiling so much.
Okay. You too. Well, that was a bad book on me.
Thank you so much. We are grateful to have you on and to have you share so openly and just without holding back. And I love your sense of humor. And I just think you make a very serious, important topic lighthearted and yet you still get to your point. So anyway, thank you so much
Yay.
for coming.
Yay. Bye, everyone.
Wow, well, that was such a powerful conversation with Meg. Guys, if this episode made you rethink behavior and rewards and the way we support our kids, well, that was the point. Because to be honest, parenting and teaching are not about control, they're about connection. A massive thank you to Megg Thompson for sharing her wisdom, her humor, and her incredible insights. If you want to learn more about her work and how she's helping families and educators create real, lasting change, you can find her on all her social media platforms and on her website. I'm going to put those links below in the show notes and in the YouTube description so you can find her there. I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode. Let's keep the conversation going. You can find me on Instagram over at emotionally.intelligent.parent. That is me. And if this episode resonated with you at all, please, I would love it if you share it with a friend or leave a review and maybe hit that follow button, because together we are honestly changing the way that we raise and support our kids, and that is making a huge difference. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time on the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting Podcast.